So we're going to start with Miss Erica, who's calling in from Hong Kong, where she's been in quarantine for far too long. Okay, so Erica is a knitwear designer, graduated from Central St. Martin's, BA Fashion, and RC, Royal College of Art, MA Fashion, with 7 years of working experience in both London and Hong Kong. Her personal practice and dissertation are all inspired by Hong Kong's culture and identity, combined with non-traditional mixed media knitting techniques. Hang on one second. Her personal practice and dissertation are all inspired by Hong Kong's culture and identity, combined with non-traditional mixed media knitting techniques to create couture knitwear. During her time in London, she has gained several opportunities and awards, such as the UPWHK sponsorship, Championship of the Porsche Design, the Last Mile competition, Championship and the Most Sustainable, the Last Mile competition, Championship and the Most Sustainable Award of the Caring Group Project. I need my glasses. And has been a finalist of the IFF Fragrance Design Project. Her dissertation, titled Hong Kong and Fashion, A Cultural History of the Hong Kong Undershirt, has also obtained distinction in her Master's of Art degree. Erica is speaking to us courtesy of the Royal College of Art, and I know a couple folks from the RCA are here, and then courtesy of IFF. So Erica, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Sure, let me just
say hi.
My screen quickly.
Okay.
So, hello everyone. I'm Erica from the Royal College of Arts in London, graduating this year doing MA Fashion. And my IFF work is actually closely linked to my personal practice, which are all related to my own identity as a Hong Kong Chinese. Today I'm presenting a set of fragrance called Faa1 Leoi6. So a bit of language class in the morning. The English alphabets you can see on the screen are the Cantonese transliteration, and the number behind is the intonation, which means flower and tear, symbolizing my love to the city with its beauty of culture and history, but also expressing the anxiety and sadness due to the recent political situation. So being a unique identity of Hong Kong Chinese, with the current political situation that is happening, how can a scent act as a representation of Hong Kong spirits or culture? I want to create a sense that can allow people to experience the beauty of culture, the violence of the politics, the feeling of tension, and also stay calm. So the name Faa and Leoi are actually written and spoken in Cantonese, which are the mother tongue in Hong Kong. It's different from Mandarin that, as you all know, which is the language in mainland China. Also, the Chinese words Faa and Leoi, as you can see below here, are actually written in traditional Chinese, which are only used in Macau, Hong Kong, and also Taiwan. So the transliteration that I'm using could completely represent that this is a product of Hong Kong. So I hope to create a fragrance that is not only to represent your emotion, but also tells people your stand, which side you're supporting. And it's almost like an invisible badge, like people could wear it and feel it without seeing it. It's something like a firepower. We're using scent as a weapon. The stronger the scent, the stronger our stand. So the presentation will be divided into two parts, the notes of the scents and also 3 applications. So as mentioned before, the scent is combined with beauty and sadness. So let's begin with the notes that represent the beauty of the history. Flower note, Fa. So one of the most important notes of the fragrance is the Florida water. So it's the bottle in the middle, you can see. It's a body fragrance that are widely used in the old time when I was small. So what you need to do is just to put a few drops into your bath and you receive a very decent floral smell on your body, and it will also protect you from insects and mosquitoes. It's this bottle here is the Florida water brand that is found and made in Hong Kong with a 70s style product illustration stickers on the bottle, the 2 ladies in the middle. And I'm also proposing to include some floral notes that has a Chinese representation into the fragrance, such as chrysanthemum, which has a meaning of tough and elegance, and also peony, which has a meaning of romantic. So to explain the sense visually, I'm translating the emotions of worried and sadness using the distortion of flower. From the old Chinese painting of a peony to artist C.Y. Twombly, who painted flower in a very powerful but abstract way, to blood and injury. So the last picture you see here is a girl protesting for a protester whose right eye was being shot blind because of the rubber bullets shot by the police. So, oops. So using the transition from Chinese flower to wounds, in the notes of Leoi, the tear notes, will be the smell of the environment used during the protest, which include irritating smells such as strong pepper spray, blood, sweat, and tears. And I imagine it could be something that is spicy, sour, or metallic. So after talking about the notes, here it comes to the application of the flower tear fragrance sets. So there are in total 3 applications of my fragrance sets using the same scent, but then in different level of saturations. Some with lighter and some with a super strong smell. The first application is a usual perfume that you can spray on your body for daily use. It's representing the protest itself, and it can also act as a protest in a peaceful way, that you don't need to talk, but you're actually representing your stand. The more people on the street putting on this perfume, the stronger the opinion. So the second application is a room fragrance, which I also call it a scent bomb. This is a video shows that how protesters react with the police as they have unequal weapons. As you can see that there are a lot of throwing actions in the protests. Protesters throwing back the tear gases that they were being shot by the police to fight back, and also prevent it being spreading away widely. So the scent bomb is being inspired from the throwing actions of the protesters. The product of this application is a bottle with some capsules inside, like this. And then the capsule looks pretty and delicate on its own. And what you need to do is to smash it on the wall in order to release the smell. The membrane will break when you smash it, and the black liquid will splash out onto the wall, and then the paint will fade away in a couple of minutes. The picture on the right-hand side shows how exactly you should apply it, and this application will release 10 times stronger of the original formula. Quite irritating at the beginning, but also it means that it could cover a stronger area and space. So this application represents the violence and injury during the protests. It's an application for you to express the anger indoor or even outdoor during the protests, to fight back in an almost harmless way. So the last application is a candle, inspired after the COVID when people are not allowed to go out for a demonstration. Fire is an element that represents serious danger, but also it has a meaning of protest and memorial. A candle could be used at home during nighttime near your window or even your balcony. And it contains the lightest scents among all the applications to cover the crowded city with a slightly calming scent, reminding people and also the government that even though we're not allowed to go out for protests, but then the protest is still ongoing. So the ongoing protests left loads of leftover marks to the city, which then become part of the history and our memory. So this is a bus stop in central Hong Kong with protest graffiti slogan marks being erased by the government cleaner. And also, statistics shows that there are over 11,000 tear gases being shot by the police in the last 10 months during the protests. So I was thinking to use the objects and marks left over after the protests as an inspiration, using canister as the inspiration of the bottle design in metal and engraving elements such as the historical painting and 70s style Hong Kong illustration with the erasure marks to symbolize the sacrifice, the loss, and also the meaning of the protest. So this is the design of the 3 applications respectively. From the right-hand side, the largest bottle contains the scent bomb with a capsule inside, and then the perfume in the middle, front and back, and then the container of the candles on the left-hand side, So basically the container of the candle will be using recycled canister collected from the protest avenue. So to summarize the project, the flower tier sets fragrance with 3 applications with the same scent in different saturation levels. It could be sold in a set of 3 or separately. The profit of the candle using the recycled canister will be donating to organizations that support the protest. I hope the perfume that I designed could act as the memorial and emotional agents to provide prevention, protection, and protest. It's a historical moment that all the Hong Kongers should never forget, and also remind the world that the protest in Hong Kong is still ongoing. And this is what happened now in Hong Kong while I'm giving this presentation to you all, as the Chinese government has forced through a security law in Hong Kong and will be basically being arrested if we put up words such as free Hong Kong or liberate Hong Kong, because these words are being considered as secessions to endanger the national security. So that's why in the image, protester holds blank paper to represent the slogan in an invisible way. The protests in the city that I love will not end. And this is the time that we should really think of a new way to protest, using our 5 senses to tell the world that what we want, and also in an invisible way. So democracy and liberty is something that we should always fight for, and it's not for free. I hope my fragrance to tell a story, encourage people to embrace the beauty of behind the protests. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Erica. So cool. So we have a little time for questions. So first of all, to pass along that Mark says brilliant concept, and Mika says cool, and I don't know, maybe you see the comments as well. Does anybody have any questions for Erica?
I'm wondering, so did you use the stink bombs during protests?
The sense bomb. I mean, the project is basically more like a concept that we were, how do you say that? Like proposing for for the IFF, but then the real product was not being made out physically. Yeah.
Okay.
So Erica developed this through a program that the Royal College of Art has with IFF, where IFF basically asks the MA fashion students to come up with ideas. And yeah, and so full disclosure, I was teaching Erica for a while in London, and then it got taken over by Susan and Sylvia, who are both on the call. So cool. Yeah, we wanted to present this work because it's timely and of course important. So any questions are more than welcome for Erica. And as a reminder, you can click on the Q&A for questions, or you could just pop it in to the chat. Susan says,
Thank you.
this idea is a brilliant practical use of perfume. Rare. Indeed. So actually, Erica, I mean, in your research for this, did you find other instances of where people are using scent in the context of protest or political work?
I mean, normally in the protests, all the scents were quite, I mean, they're not perfume, but then they were designed it to put off people from the avenue. So that I was just thinking that it might be a good idea to actually come up with idea that is actually a perfume or an application that could be technically used during the protests to fight back, but then in a peaceful way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, okay. Sorry, I got distracted by questions. I'm so sorry, Erica. Thank you for your answer. Regina has a question, so I'm gonna, Regina, I'm gonna promote her to speak. So, okay, Regina, you can talk.
Thank you. Really appreciate the talk. I thought it was really excellent, and as Saskia said, very timely. My question is, and this is, of course, more of you know, a question of how protests in general might smell, and if there is a difference, like, for example, if tear gas or other similar materials are used in different protests around the world. I'm thinking of like Tahrir Square in Egypt, for example. Do you feel like there is a very distinct smell to different protests around the world in general?
I do think so. And then I think that the smell really depends on the environment, also the climate. It's quite humid in Hong Kong, and then like I've been participating in quite a few protests, and like to me I can smell like I mean I've never really faced onto the pepper spray or like the tear gases, but then there are a lot, because it was summer, so that was quite a lot of sweat and like sour, kind of spicy, like irritating smell. And then I expect if it's like a drier place, it will be, or it's a place that which is less crowded compared to Hong Kong, I expect there will be a slightly different smell as well. So I guess the perfume could be slightly altered for each city maybe, so that it could be representing like protests as a memorial perfume for like city in different, in a perfume in different city, I mean.
Great, thank you so much, I appreciate it.
And just to note that Regina and Lara, her art partner, are going to be speaking tomorrow and presenting their work as well. So
thank you so much, appreciate it.
Joselie has a question. Joselie, I will promote you quickly. 1 second, here we go. Okay, Joselie. Waiting for Joselie. Joselie, are you there? There's always this awkward moment where I don't know if they're there or not. I can just ask the question until Joselie appears. Joselie is asking, were the paintings an act of protest only, or just or smell paintings, the paintings that you used in your presentation?
Also, the paints in the sandstorm.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, the paints in the sandstorm are actually fragrance. So like fragrance with pigments, basically. So that it's like a paint bullet, basically, and then but you use your hand to smash it on the wall. The pigment will come out smashed on the wall, and then it will fade away in a couple of minutes. So yes, there is smell and color in the capsule.
Okay, thank you. And then Susan, I just promoted you so you can ask your question live.
Hi, Susan.
Oh God, am I visible?
No, but we can hear you.
Oh, Erica, I just want to say this is the most moving and beautiful project. I know both Saskia and I love it so much, and it's so upsetting to see that the Chinese government has passed this new law. But that made me think, is this the moment to really make your project reality? People could not protest on the streets now without serious consequences. Is this the time when they could wear the invisible badge of Faa1 Leoi6?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not the right chemist to like make up the perfume itself, but I mean, this would be like the perfect idea for this moment in Hong Kong, because I mean, they can't arrest us because of the smell on our body, isn't it? But then it's a kind of protest. So I think, well, when I was beginning, as you know, Susan, when I was beginning to think of this flower tier project, it wasn't anything about there isn't anything about the security law, but that was just came out, I think it was last week or the week before. And then, which makes me think of the project that I'm making with IFF actually fits so well into the situation, because it's invisible, they can't arrest us, but then you can actually presenting your stand.
I think that's such a beautiful idea, because if you think of other protests around the world, like I can't remember, was it Ukraine where it was the orange protest or the rose? This is the first time I've seen protest put into smell, and I've just seen somebody in the chat say, I bet you can find someone here to help. Erica, I hope you do. I think you should make it happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just a little plug for another project that is exploring protest and scent. Artist from Canada, Elisa Coheen, will be doing a talk online through our Meet a Nose series, which we use slightly ironically, talking about her research into the use of skunk gas in protests. So Erica, you should definitely come. And for those of you interested in this topic, please do come to that, and I'll pop that in the chat. Last question, I think, Josley asks if you imagine that this could be used as a counter-protest towards the police. I suppose can be used in any way, right?
I mean, technically, yes. But given that the police are having and controlling like quite a few, like the force that it's quite powerful compared to, I think the sans bomb that I designed are just, I mean, because I was thinking to make it quite irritating, maybe it could put them off for a few seconds, but compared to what they have, having like guns shooting those rubber bullets, it was quite little. But then I just want to promote the idea of fighting back to the police in a quite peaceful way. So yes and no in a way.
I think a last question, and also by the way, Donna El Masri, who's a perfumer in Montreal, wants to help. So I'll connect you guys actually, because that makes sense to me. Yeah, and then Tessa. Sorry, Erica.
So, I mean, I'll be very thankful if anyone would like to help, because I really like this project, and it will be very great if it really comes in real life.
Good. I'll connect you guys. Tessa's wondering if you were able to produce it now, if you were able to produce it, how would you let people know about it while protecting yourself from being persecuted or arrested for it?
That's a good question. That's a good question. It will be quite complicated, but then how? Well, then, to be honest, I've never thought of that, but maybe it could be like a small bottle of a gift. Because in Hong Kong, we have divided restaurants and company into two-sided already, depending on the political stand. So maybe we can put the bottle of the perfume to the company that supports the protest as a little gift, so that it could kind of slightly sneak into the people that is actually with the same stand. That's so that they could wear it on the body as an invisible badge, maybe.
Yeah, and so a couple comments on that. Leonora Sonnenschein says in Stemmelmann's perfume book, he mentions that revolutionaries in the French Revolution were sent to recognize each other. So definitely if someone hasn't already, someone should do some research on that. That's pretty cool. And then Mark Leviday wants to share that the change of function from tear gas canister to a perfume/candle container is also a very powerful idea. So
thank you.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, so there's a lot. Oh, and then finally, actually, Vera thankfully reminded all of us of a wonderful project that was done by a woman called Lisa Kirk, based in, I believe, New York, that was Scent for Revolution. And I had a chance to see that and smell that years and years ago here in LA, but it might be worth researching. So there's a lot to be done, everybody. So as usual, we'd need more time with each talk as panelists here, but we don't have that time. So Eric, I want to thank you for participating and for sharing your project, and please keep everybody posted on what you're up to with it. You know, I think we're all very interested
for inviting.
No problem. Yeah.
Thank you, Erika.
Thank you, and thanks everyone supporting. Thank you, Susan and Sophia, for your help along this project.
And then Minetta popped Erica's Instagram handle in the chat. So if,
Thank you.
yeah, okay, cool. So thanks, Erica. I'm gonna change you to an attendee so you can relax.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
And then